Tonight's lesson is on getting ready for RootsTech. And I think that Angel is excited about that. She's the one that requested the topic. Angel, I hope we can give you part of what you want tonight. I don't think I could give you everything. All along, I kept thinking, oh, it's far away. I'll register later. And when I tried to register this week, I couldn't get on. I finally succeeded.
Okay.
So this is my, are you already registered, Angel?
Yeah, I registered as soon as you could. It was free and online.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Ben, are you registered?
No, I'm not sure that I'm going yet. I don't know.
He might be at
Okay.
work.
The thing about it being online is you could do it later. You know, if the specific class you want to go to is at 2 o'clock and you're not available at 2 o'clock, you watch it when you're ready. They are bending over backwards to make this available to everybody. And it is such a massive thing and nobody's ever done it before. And they still have lots of questions about how they're going to make it work. But so if you register and only go to 1 or 2 classes, okay. It's going to be very, very much make it fit what you want, which is very nice. John, have you registered and are you planning to go?
I'm planning, but I've not registered.
Okay. And Diane is in charge of developing the vendor booth for her company, the company that she works for. So she is busy and involved in it from that angle. And probably will have to do the classes that she does, she'll probably have to do after the fact. Is that right, Diane?
Sorry. He usually what we'll do is we'll ask our researchers. He will pay our researchers to be on call because we can have the live chat thing. So we'll still be able to do classes because he does it in real life. So I can't imagine he won't with this, you know. If we're not online live, then we can go to classes, I'm sure.
Okay, so you won't all be on duty the whole time.
Right.
Okay. When you're registering, for those that haven't registered yet, if it reroutes you to something like CES registration, don't do it that way. Try a different way. And I think that if you go to the main RootsTech.org website, that's the best way to register. I went some other way twice to register and couldn't get through, but finally today I didn't let it reroute me to that website. I went further down on the registration page and I registered. So it's doable. Just try again if you don't get through the first time, and don't try to register when it reroutes you, because that's what didn't work. Okay, the dates are Thursday, February 25th to Saturday, 27th. And the way that it has worked in the past, and I tell you this so that you can have an idea of what you want to do with yours, is in the morning is the general session. And that's when they have their keynote speakers, and that's when the CEO of Family Search talks. And so that's general. And that has been my favorite part of RootsTech. Then after that, classes start. And the classes are a wide variety of classes. Then all this time, the expo hall is open. And you could go into the expo hall. Some classes are associated with meals, and you can do that. Some are connected with labs. So of course we won't have meals and labs tonight or this year. They usually have some way that they're trying to get everybody to sign up so that if you're related to somebody else that's there, you can make connections with them. They've used relatives near me on your phone app before, but last I heard they aren't sure what they're going to do this year, but they still want to do something because they say that a lot of people that come, that's one of the highlights of their conference, is being able to make connections with relatives. They also have a store, and the store is going to be online this year, and so we can look it up. We can look it up online and see the things. Personally, that's not something I spend money on, so I never have gone to the store when I went in person. And then something they've done in the past is on the Saturday, they invite all the families to come and bring all their kids and do discovery experiences. And I never went on that day because it sounded to me like a real madhouse. And so you are getting this not from the marketing guy at RootsTech, but you're getting it from an attendee and what my experiences were. And I think that he would be disappointed at how warped my experiences are. The discovery experiences that they have all set up are very similar to the ones, or maybe even exact same ones, that are on Family Search. If you go to the help button, you can make connection to the activities. But when you do it through it that way, it's just on your little computer screen. If you go to either the St. George Family History Center, probably Salt Lake, or the Lehigh Family History Center, you get to do the same activities on great big huge TV screens, and it makes them more fun. So that's when you get to dress in clothing from the country that your ancestors were from, and you get to look at pictures of buildings of where your ancestors were from and when they were there, and you get to find out how many other people in the United States have your name, and you get to read the memories that are associated with your ancestors that are on Family Search, but it's all on a great big screen, which makes it more fun for the kids and frankly more fun for the adults. But so you should know that that's a lot of what happens at Discovery Day, and it is available without going to Discovery Day, especially since we can't go to Discovery Day this year. How many of you have been to either Lehigh or St. George or Salt Lake and done those activities on the big screen television?
I think Ian maybe done it.
You're thinking you maybe did?
No, Ian.
Oh, Ian. Okay,
Yeah.
probably so. Probably so. Well, my son Mike took his elders quorum because he thought it was so much fun. And so when I was in St. George visiting him, he took me too. So sometime when we're back in civilization, you ought to take your families and go, because it is exciting to see and do the things you can do. So that kind of would be the tail end of RootsTech, would be Discovery Day. So I want to tell you a little bit about the early meetings, and I took me a while to get onto Zoom, so I didn't get to look it up again. Let's take a minute and see if we can get on. So I'm going to share my screen. It worked earlier for me to share my screen. There it goes. And I'm going to go see if I can go to the RootsTech website. Now this is RootsTech 2021. So which is the one that didn't let me in? Let's see. This is a good one. This is the right screen. So this is the registration form. I just scroll down a little bit, and this is the registration form that works. So it was called RootsTech 2021. And I'm going to go all the way down. And here are pictures of the 4 keynote speakers from this year. And I have always especially enjoyed the keynote speakers. And if you click on each one, you can read more about them.
Are they all LDS or?
No, no. But they have chosen them because of their connections with family or with genealogy research of one angle or another, or just their motivation. So Lorena Ochoa, at 1 year was supposed to be the best golfer in the world, and she is a mother from Mexico City. And she took a couple of years off of her career to try to improve the education of poor people in Mexico City. So she is, and every one of, I have been surprised at, you know, some of the keynote speakers I've known a little bit about, but when they talked, the things they talked about opened up a whole new side of them that I didn't know about before. So she will be good to listen to. Francisco Latoro is a outstanding pianist and musician, and his specialty is he has spent the last years of his life trying to recover all music that was written by people that were in the concentration camps during World War II. And so what his experiences in trying to save that music, who would have even known there was music like that, has been his specialty through his career. Sharon Morgan is the founder of ourblackancestry.com. She has done immense amount of work to help Black Americans be able to figure out how to do their ancestry, how to figure out their ancestry. And this last fellow, Nick, whose name I could not pronounce, was born with no arms and no legs. And he has gone on not only to be a motivational speaker, but a best time writer, best time author. He's written a lot of books and has had experiences in dealing with what life has to deal that most of us would never ever think about. So and they will, their talks will definitely be available later, and that's great. As we go down further, it tells us there'll be classes. They're trying to have classes this year, since it's virtual, in 10 languages. And I just think that's remarkable. One of the things they have tried to do this year is they have decided not to have everybody's class be an hour long. You know, in the past, your class would be, you know, start at 9, and then the next one would start at 10, and the next one would start at 11, and everybody is in a mad throng to get from one class to another. And when you get to the one you really wanted to go to the most, it's already full. And so that's going to all be eliminated by being virtual. Instead, they're going to have, they've told the teachers, be very specific. Don't feel like you have to use 60 slides in a PowerPoint. If you can teach your topic in 6 minutes, teach it in 6 minutes. If it takes you an hour, take an hour. But just take how long it takes and then be done. And what they plan to do is have a playlist available on the RootsTech website, so that we can go in ahead of time and find that playlist and make the schedule of what we want to go to and what we want to hear. And that's going to be complicated, because some of the classes will be 6 minutes long, some will be an hour long, probably a couple will be 2 hours long, and in 10 different languages. So that's going to be very much easier to tailor it to what you want and leave out what you don't. Also, you'll be able to eat lunch at your own house instead of waiting in line in overcrowded halls to try to buy lunch and get back to the next class you want, and then before the hour's up. So that's going to be a big advantage, I think. Here, I'm going to show you a menu of what classes have been like in the past so that you could kind of get an idea of the kinds of classes that they'll have when they have classes. Classes on DNA, classes on technology and how you would use it for family history, LDS resources, and I have not succeeded when I have gone in the past in making the connections to the LDS resources. I had to watch them later on their website of saved classes because I just never, they weren't in my book that I had, you know, the book they send you that says you're registered and here's your classes that you can choose from. And so I'm hoping that this year we'll be able to do that better. In the past, they've had a lot of classes on how to keep good track of and healthy, keep them healthy, any heirlooms that you've inherited. Then a lot of just classes on family history research methodologies. And then it lists here specifically census. And I watched one of those classes today on census. And it was things that I knew, but organized in a way that I hadn't been successful in organizing it. So I think that we will like all of those kinds of classes. Some of the classes that I've taken in the past were how to take care of your photos in order to put photos in memories, how to solve research problems, how to form a background of where your family was so that you could, I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see your faces, so that I could improve how I was, thanks, John, so I could improve what I was doing on a couple of my problem families. And it was kind of interesting. After it was all over, a week or two later, I was looking at those that they had saved and put on the website. And one of them, I thought as I read it, this is exactly what I need to know more of. And so I opened it up and looked at it, and there I was in the audience. So it was one of the ones that I had already been to that class. And so I knew it was something I needed, but I didn't really, I guess, feel like I'd solved it all by going to the class once. Yes, John.
I have a technical question. You mentioned it before, and then I just saw the thing on the split screen where if you're registered and go in, then you may have relatives who are also registered and members who are a part of RootsTech that are coming in. Since I'm doing most of my research on Janie's name, and I can't get into her file anymore and do research like I used to do using her name, because that's more user friendly for when you're dealing with folks in Mexico and beyond. Can I sign up somehow, sign her up so that I would rather, well, or both of us, I wouldn't mind meeting new relatives, but I've been trying to find people who are members of the church or any relatives to her lines that I've been doing it, and I've basically been non-successful. Everybody I've found is non-LDS. Or
that is really exciting. And you know what I'd do? I'd try it. I would just register with her name and see what happened. I bet you could get through. Now, do you also know this? If it won't let you?
They won't let me into her file because she shows as deceased. So they won't let me in to do any further research under her name, apparently.
Apparently, you'd have to switch to doing it under your name.
Well, that's what I've done, but
once they're deceased, you can't do it under their name anymore. You can't get into it. They've closed it down. The church does.
Yeah, see, so, and there's people there under her name that need to have work done.
Well, you can submit them under your name.
Okay, I'm going to give you another possible way to cheat. When you go to family history,
Not-
or I'm going to go back to the website. I'm going to share again.
Okay. Because that
And I
could be
hope,
very-
Angel, that the rest of you aren't, and Alina, that you aren't bothered by me showing you this. If you go to
Nancy, you're muted. We lost you. Are you there?
She got shot with an arrow, maybe.
Let me text her.
Anyway. But I asked that because I've had some problems when I've contacted people who, I cross lines with them, and I'll make contact and send them an email and say, hey, I'm working on this. And probably 3 or 4 times in the last year, people have come back and says, are you a Mormon? And when I say no, then I never have any more contact with them because I'm using my name Baird. But when I was using the Janie's name, Rocha, and on her file, I was doing work in both files, that I was more easily accepted on those websites that I use occasionally to talk to people about getting into the different systems, So that's why
Let's try logging in as your daughter. She has a different name. Saying that she's the daughter of Janie Rocha.
Oh, that's right. I haven't thought of that. That would be a good thing. Good idea.
Lost Nancy completely.
Yeah, Nancy.
Oh, let's see. She said, I was kicked off. Will you talk while I get back on?
Okay, that's what we're doing.
Well, I could show you. Oh, I don't even know if I can share a screen though, because I'm not the head person. I was going to show you what the vendor area is going to look like. The vendors, see, that sometimes is one of the fun things people like at RootsTech is to go to all the vendors, and because you can learn a lot from some of them. Like I like to go to the Swedish vendors so I could learn how to use their website. Some of them, they'll teach you how to use their websites. So they're still going to be here, and they will have people live to talk to. So it'll be like going to their booth, like you did when you went to RootsTech, but you can do it at your own leisure. And it'll be up to them, I guess, how often they'll have somebody. I would imagine they'll have somebody during the whole time, for the hours to talk to. But they're supposed to have little videos and different things for you to see, learning things, learning discovery. All their whole objective is to entice you to come and look at their stuff. So they're going to have some cool things to look at. So don't forget to visit the expo booth and
Good idea.
come visit ours.
Any giveaways?
Well, that's, I thought I'm going to think about this after Christmas, and now it's like, oh my goodness. So we're going to have a real intense meeting tomorrow morning and discuss what kind of giveaways we can have, what kind of fun things we can offer. So it's just totally over my head. But
Nancy, I got you off track now that you're back.
Yes, I'm back.
Oh, good, you're back.
Why don't you just ignore what we were looking for and go on with your lesson? So.
Well,
did-
what I was showing you how to what might work to get on. How maybe you could cheat to get onto Jeannie's, and maybe we
Diane,
should just do that after the class, so that I'm not
Diane?
telling everybody I'm a cheater.
Diane already made a suggestion that I go into my daughter's name. And
Oh,
I think that would be the best way to handle it.
I think that's the best way.
Yeah.
Good thinking, Diane. If you go to YouTube and you look for RootsTech 2021, you're going to come up with 3 different things. One of them is somebody that looks like they're practicing with the presentation they're going to give at RootsTech, and I forget what another one is, but one is a family search live show that has been recorded and put on YouTube that is questions to the marketer for RootsTech, the lady that always does the lives for Family Search, and the event planner for Family Search. And they spend quite a bit of time answering questions about what they plan to do to make the virtual RootsTech work. And I think that would definitely be worth watching. And so I guess if you want that connection, you want that for me to see if I can find that link, because I hadn't thought about the fact you might want a link. Then send me your email in the chat, and I will see if I can figure out how to get that to you. But just go to YouTube and search under YouTube for RootsTech 2021. And like I said, you'll get a couple of things that have nothing to do with RootsTech 2021, but you will get this one live thing on the screen. It will show 3 different, it'll show a Zoom meeting with 3 different people. And they have good, it made me excited to want to go. But it also told me that they really are trying to figure out things on a scale that's unbelievable, that nobody else can give them any hints on how to do. They're saying we're going to pull it off. Sure, we're going to be able to do this, but we don't know how. So I think that they're working really hard and praying a lot. Some of my favorite speakers from RootsTech in past years, one of the ones I enjoyed the very most was CC Moore, who is one of the, or maybe the foremost DNA lady in the United States, DNA genealogist in the United States. And one of the things that she talked about was how one time her brother-in-law said, gee, you know all about this DNA stuff. You ought to do mine and help me do mine. And they did his, and this is her brother-in-law, a white guy with blonde daughters. And as they did his DNA and then did the paperwork to follow it up, they discovered that he was a direct descendant from Sally Heming, who was Thomas Jefferson's slave, and that he was then a descendant of Thomas Jefferson. And marvelous experiences that they had visiting Monticello and making connections with other of Sally Heming's descendants. And that I just was fascinated by that story. Often you will be really disappointed if you go to RootsTech for 3 days, or even if you just choose the couple of classes that seem to be most interesting to you and go to them. If you don't come out, you will come out with an idea of that is something I need to do. And the census, the one class that I replayed this afternoon about the census, she had some really good approaches. Her thing was, her class was something kind of like how to find people and hard to find people in the census. strategies for finding hard to find people in the census. And I came away with some ideas. Oh, I need to remember this and this and this, and especially to teach these things the next time I teach a class on the census. So I definitely think that RootsTech is worth going to. Another thing that I have thoroughly enjoyed and learned from every year is the BYU Conference on Family History, which is held for 2 or 3 days every July. And it seems that all too often family comes to town to visit during those 3 days, and I miss it. But that has been one of the ways that I have learned the most and been able to keep up the best with new advances in family history was by attending that conference. So I definitely encourage everybody that is at all interested to go. Any comments? Angel, why do you want to go to RootsTech?
Well, in my patriarchal blessing, it says that that it's my calling to do the work for the dead, and I'll find it easy to do. And so I already know that I have been assigned this in my life. And so I just thought if I could gather more information, it'll be better.
Okay. Use your time more effectively and be more successful and motivated. One of the main things that this kind of a thing does is it motivates you to keep working at it.
Yeah. I have though, Nancy, like last time we met, you said you should add some life sketches to your family tree. So I actually did. So
yay.
Yeah, so just add a few little here and there. Been working on small, and I'm like, oh, that's for my mom to do. And then you're like, no, not really. And I'm like, oh, Nancy may be right. so
well, and your mom told me that this year you have added thousands of pictures.
Yes, yeah, we have.
Did she say 5,000?
I don't know how many we've done. She has a plethora of. She is the keeper of the record. She has gathered from my dad's family and her family. She has the records. And so we have just tried to put, like, I'll be like, who is this? She goes, oh, blah, 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 blah. And that's this, and this is where it's from, and that's this war, and this is stories I had never known. Like, oh, he went to prison, he got in this bar fight. You're like, what? In our family? Tell me more.
And those those things need to be taken from her brain to paper while it's possible.
Oh, yeah. And like, I had no idea that my Aunt Dickie, she's deceased. Well, she married a guy and he came home from work and she said, guess what? We're pregnant with my cousin Todd. Well, I had no idea Todd Adams, his dad, who was dad this whole time that I knew before they passed away, is not his dad. He was adopted by her second husband. No idea. So I'm like, okay. So as you go through, yeah,
those, and sometimes my mother always said we need to tell the truth and not sugarcoat it.
Yeah.
And I'm afraid sometimes I've been just too blunt.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
You know, I wrote when my stepmother, I don't even like to call her my stepmother, when my stepmother's descendants made a new entry for my dad in Family Search.
Yeah.
And so I had to merge them.
Yeah.
I made a discussion comment about how unhappy the marriage was, and my dad would never want to be sealed to that family or connected to that family. And I thought, well, maybe I could have said it a little kinder.
Okay.
You know, that was what my dad said, but maybe I could have said it a little bit.
Yeah.
Nearly not quite ready to redo it yet, but anyway.
You don't have
but we need to tell the truth about some things.
Yeah.
Yeah. Charles and I have tried to be pretty open about the fact that he was adopted. His name is now Hugo. Leroy Hugo is not his birth father. That when we married, he had not yet been adopted, and I still had the name Clark. And so when we married, I had the name Clark. And then after we were married, he was adopted, and then we both changed our name to Hugo. We've tried to be real open about that so that it's not a confusing thing down the road. But that's a minor skeleton.
Yeah.
Some of us really have secrets hiding in the closet. And maybe it was important when people were alive to keep the secrets. But 100 years later, I don't think we need to keep them anymore.
Right. I don't think it was a secret. I just think I didn't know.
Well, some of
You know?
Charles's were real secrets. Not Charles's. I'm thinking specifically of my dad's great aunt. You know, that situation was just denied. You know, one time my mother was talking to, I don't remember if it was that aunt's mother or somebody else, but she said, listen, Esther, we don't have any skeletons in our closet. Don't discuss it. Well, there were skeletons in the closet.
There's skeletons in everyone's closet.
But maybe we need to give the people that have those skeletons some privacy while they're alive, and then handle it maybe more graciously than I have done on occasion. I think I've wanted to help people realize they could be truthful, and maybe I haven't been gracious enough in that truthfulness.
Well, I sure don't want everybody to know everything about me.
Well, how much do we want our grandchildren to know about Charles's birth dad?
Text message.
You know, his mother did everything she could to keep Charles out of the loop from knowing about the unpleasant things about his birth dad.
Right.
So, you know, those things kind of need to be. I think we have to handle them thoughtfully and prayerfully and carefully.
Yes.
So our reasons to go, if we're going to RootsTech, are to learn, to be entertained, and to gain inspiration.
Yeah. Also, I think to find out what other resources are out there, so we can have to know there's so much changing in technology and resources that.
So just from the technology, that's another thing, is what other technology can help us with family history. You know, I'm old enough that I remember when my dad went to a class related to his high priest group somehow or another, in which he found out that there was a computer program, and it was called Personal Ancestral File, that the church had just come up with, that help you keep track of your family group sheets on the computer. Oh my goodness, is that possible?
Yes.
And my dad thought it was so important that even though our little Atari computer, you know, nothing at all like a computer we have today, but he bought me the IBM emulator for our little Atari computer so that I would be able to run PATH, because he wanted me to be able to have that resource. Right. So such marvelous things that we can learn that way. Sister Lisenby, why are you interested in RootsTech?
Text message.
Are you there? I'm trying to turn my volume down on my phone, but it isn't working yet.
All the text messages are between me and Richard anyway, so you could ignore them.
Oh, okay.
You realize he just got your text message.
Okay. Any more comments? Any more questions? Have we covered enough to get the basics? What I found out, one more thing.
Yes.
One of the things they said on this YouTube thing is that once you register, they're going to start sending you information. And so Diane registered earlier. She went through the information that they had sent her. And so far, there really wasn't very much information there. But if we register now, pretty soon we should be getting the list of classes so that we can start to schedule which classes we want. They're calling that a playlist. And we will be able to see which of the keynote speakers are talking when that we think will be the most interested in and schedule. We'll be able to maybe even have a list of who's going to be vendors so that we can know which of their booths we want to make sure we visit, so that we can do more of that planning ahead. So far, we cannot do that. But the first thing to do is register so that you've got the email address so that they can send you things when they do release them. And like I said, it's really going to be a challenge for them to do everything that they have planned. And I think they're going to come through with it because I think the Lord wants it to happen that way. So I just think that they are still working awful hard at it.
Well, I think we saw them build the city center temple, and that was quite a challenge.
Yep.
So the church can do hard things.
Well, and in regards to the city center temple, can you believe that right now in Utah County, there are 3 more temples under construction? 4 temples already here and 3 more under construction in one county?
What's that?
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. Just says we got a lot of work to do.
I think that when they get all opened, we're going to have a really lot of responsibility. I sure do.
I do. I miss the Baptist, working in the baptistry. And we went out to dinner on New Year's Eve to celebrate because I was on vacation. And
After working 20-hour, 60-hour weeks, 80-hour weeks, your mother told me.
76 to 80-hour weeks. I got Christmas off. So anyway.
With twice the work to do on the day after. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, we did that. And then I went on vacation. So I worked. And then since Ben got COVID, I get 2 more weeks off of work. So I'm okay that way. Except it's not, the chills and aches were not that great. But it's going to be good. It's going to be good. But I did take work off. I got those RootsTech. I took those 2 days off of work.
Oh, good. The vacation days. You're going to be ready to do it. Okay. Yeah. And that's why you want to make the most you can out of those 2 days.
I have a feeling that RootsTech will never be the same if this goes off successfully.
I agree with you.
Like a lot of other things that we've learned we can do more efficiently and cover more people. RootsTech is simply another one that's we're learning how to do during this period of time.
Absolutely. Just like RootsTech is so much grander in the past. RootsTech has been so much grander than BYU's conference, and BYU's conference was just revolutionary when it began.
Yeah.
Yep, I think the Lord is using technology today to hasten his work. Absolutely.
What I can't wait for is the time when the veil is parted and those of us on this side of the veil can work directly with the other side and get our names and our directions from them and just go to the temple and get it done.
Yes.
Be something.
Oh, and this is kind of a little bit of an aside, but what took my half of that for me, it took half an hour in the hour before my lesson tonight, was my granddaughter in Texas, who's 14, called and said, I just got my family search account and it doesn't connect me to anybody. What do I do? And so I had to walk her through how to add the living people so that she could see the deceased people. And then we did one hint. We followed through one hint so that she could have something to begin to work on. And I think, it's these young kids that probably won't have a continual interest, but the interest will come back and they will do it again. And who knows which one of them is going to be the one that carries on and works with at this accelerated speed with and through the veil as years pass. If nobody else has a comment, it's time for the closing prayer.